on energetic aspect, what do you think of cancer and how it's related to energy, mindful energy?
In simple terms, for me, cancer does not have a mind. Cancer is an energy that is a matter that gets stronger over a period of time, gets thicker and heavier over a period of time, while the chakras are heavily congested of emotional energy. There's also another sad contributing factor in Vietnam. Contamination in the soil, in the ground, from Agent Orange. So that is actually a contamination in the soil. And I was only looking at this a few days ago. How long and how is it possible to transform the soil for the Agent Orange to no longer have an effect on the land? Right now, I don't have an answer for that. But what I do know, in Vietnam, it's very difficult for have IFOAM organic certification. So these aspects, I think, are more important to really understand how it affects the physical body, rather than blaming some type of mindful energy, which I see a lot of people do. Organic certification or the foods itself. And even the best herb doctors that I know would say cancer is in the air these days. So is a person in their true integrity when they have cancer? Yes. They really need to start looking and clearing their emotions that they have been holding for so long. Any other questions?
So the question is, because like cancer, it kind of metastatic. Even though it is fully recovered, but it will be transferred to another position. So I would like to ask about that situation.
That comes down to the method that is being used in the treatment. Because if you're talking about radiology, for an example, or chemotherapy, for an example, the methodology of them is completely different to natural methods. So that's where the herbal medicine comes in very well, because it balances out the hormones, it balances out the blood. So herb medicine, balancing out the blood, chemotherapy, killing all the cells. So for an example, cancer can be cut out in a location, but it's still in the blood, circulating through the body. It's in the lymph nodes, in the bone marrow, throughout the body. So if cancer is removed, for an example, from a person's body, actually Vietnam has a different way of understanding about stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4 in cancer development compared to the Western world, as I understand at this point in time. Stage 1 is where somebody has been identified having cancerous cells in the body or a particular part of an organ. And that can be transformed. That can be transformed very easily and quickly just by somebody changing their food. Then there's stage 4 cancer in the Western world, and that would be identifying that the cancer is then into the bone marrow. So these topics that I've talked about so far have nothing to do with mindful energies. Any other questions?
Recently, I had a treatment for a cancer client, and she usually hear the sound or the voice. In that supplement, it will not be effective. She frequently hears that sound, and during the treatment, I also draw these kinds of spirits. But you say that there is no relation with the mindful energy. But in my case, I see the connection, so I do not understand quite clearly.
So that voice could be the client's thought form.
No, but I mean during the treatment, she also
Sure.
saw the mindful energy.
Okay, so are you seeing the client's thought? Because when a client's on the table, you can get to know what they're thinking. So that means the mindset of the client.
Cho nên đây,
When somebody is faced with death, because exactly, you know, I mean, any of us could drop dead tomorrow, yeah? But the fact is, when somebody has been diagnosed with cancer, for an example, they are facing death. And a doctor will tell them, you know, how long they may have to live. Have you experienced that? If a person wants to die, they will. If a person has a positive attitude, they can actually live longer. This is fact. Having a positive attitude is a great thing. But while you're performing a Reiki treatment, you can pick up people's thoughts. So I would be double checking on that, because to have a mindful energy to come to somebody, cancer, call it whatever you want. Cancer is just a word. Everyone is sick, okay? Everyone has cancer. Everyone here has cancer. Understand it. What are the thoughts? So is it possible for somebody to pull energies to themselves? Yes. So if somebody is pulling energies to themselves, the question is, what are they doing? Who are they calling? The only difference is that people who have been trained in Reiki would be generally calling their guides. But if somebody hasn't studied Reiki, the question is, who are they calling? So there's a whole process with mental when a person is getting closer to dying, and to the point where the person's energy becomes so weak around them, their aura becomes so weak that the body stops and the spirit leaves the body. So where's the mindful energies in that process? I understand working with these people with cancer. No, people not with cancer. I would say cancer and getting closer to death. Being a death doula is not easy. It's not easy on the therapist's emotions. It's not easy to go through the understanding of the connection, the karmic connection. It's not easy for a therapist.
Yeah.
But it's not another mindful energy. So maybe one day in the future, we should have a talk with like a herb doctor and other people that work with cancer, and start to get some better clarity on some of these things. I know it can be very difficult for energy therapists, but I also understand that people can make up a lot of excuses and blame a lot of other aspects, especially the spirit world, instead of embracing their own past, their own emotions, and really pulling themselves together to get stronger and get through the process.